Hello, everyone. I'm Mark Dorenkamp with Managing for Profit on Brownfield, a content partnership with Corteva Agriscience. Our guest for this episode is Corteva Market Development Specialist Chris Kluemke. Chris, let's talk about what's happening so far this planting season and any nutrient management tips you have for farmers.
Okay, well, this season is like no other season. If you've been farming for a while, we've had areas of the U.S. and have received a lot of rainfall, and we've had areas of the U.S. that are still kind of dry. And there's a lot of corn to yet go in the ground, and a lot of nitrogen decisions that need to be made yet. And it's just once again proving to be a year like no other.
Given some of those extremes as far as management goes, what are you telling growers right now?
Well, we've had conditions out there where nitrogen loss has occurred, and we do see farmers also making split applications of nitrogen. And we want to make sure, no matter whenever growers are putting nitrogen out, that they are protecting it to ensure whenever that plant needs it, that it's available to it. And again, the environment is becoming more of a concern every year. And we want to ensure that we're doing everything we can to not let it go down any of our rivers or streams.
Some farmers might think they don't need to stabilize their side dress applications. Why should they consider using a nitrogen stabilizer? And maybe there's some recent data that you can share to lend some insight on this.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said earlier, farmers are starting to do side dress applications. And if you think about N-Serve, that's coming up on a pretty big milestone birthday, whenever that came out, growers were side dressing, and they were putting all their nitrogen on and using N-Serve then, and it proved very beneficial to them. If you think about it today, we're splitting that nitrogen up, and some testing that we did last year, we found about 11% more nitrogen in the soil where we had put a stabilizer on versus where we hadn't. And at the end of the year, we saw like a 5 bushel increase with different rates of N-Serve and different trials that we had done throughout the year. So it became very beneficial to use a recognized stabilizer like Instinct Next Gen or N-Serve in those side dress applications.
Before we talk about where listeners can go to learn more, anything else on this important topic that you want to be sure to mention?
If you think about nitrogen applications, just remember N-Serve and Instinct hold nitrogen in the ammonium form longer. That is their job. And whenever we can hold it in the ammonium form, it can't leach. It's tied to a soil particle. And in soil, if the soil doesn't move, your nitrogen is not going to move. It's whenever it gets into that nitrate form is where it becomes mobile in the soil, and that's where we get into trouble. Our job with Instinct and N-Serve is to hold it in that ammonium form.
Chris, where can listeners go to learn more?
So if a listener wants to learn more, they can talk to their local Corteva representative. They can go to nitrogenstabilizers.com.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
I'm Mark Dorenkamp with Managing for Profit on Brownfield, a content partnership with Corteva Agriscience.